In this video, we're going to look at the importing data section of Chapter 7. I'm on page 438, and the first instructions are on page 439. We want to select cell A4 and click on the Data tab up here. Click the From Text button over here. We're going to import a text file, which is a file that hasn't been formatted. And we need to find the file out here, and this is the file right here. It's called You Build Computers North Sales. CSV stands for comma separated values. That means it uses commas to separate the data in one column from the data in the next column. And our steps here are, first of all, we got to tell it that it's a delimited file, and click on Next. Then we have to tell it what the delimiter character is. The delimiter character in this case is the comma. As soon as I click on comma here, all of a sudden everything looks a whole lot nicer. And let's click on Next here, and we generally don't need to do anything on this step right here, so we can just click on Finish. That's the last step. And then we want to click on the Properties button here and bring up this dialog box. And want to turn off this checkbox. And we want to tell it to overwrite existing cells with data and clear unused cells. And click OK. And click OK again. And now your spreadsheet should look something like this. Let's go to the Home tab. Select C4 to F4. C4 to F4. And we want to copy its formatting, and so we're going to go to the Format Painter here, and then we want to select C5 through F10, and now they all line up better. And now we're going to go on to page 443, and we're going to look at importing data from a database, from an access table. So we want to select cell A11. And we want to click the Data tab again, and we're going to get from Access, which is Microsoft's desktop database. And we want to navigate to the location of the Access database file containing the table to insert, which is going to be, again, for me it's on SkyDrive. It'll vary for you. And data files, and what I want here is You Build Computers South Sales. And click on Open, and click the OK button, and it brings in the data, and the data is formatted as a table. And we want to right click on A11, and we want to point to Table on here, and we want to tell it we want to convert it to a range, and click on OK, and this is not part of our data. We don't want to duplicate this, so we're going to right click on it. We're going to choose Delete, and now we've got the data that we imported from the Access table. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to import one more thing here. We're going to need to go to the Home tab. We've got to clean up the looks here a little bit. Select from A7 to F7. And click on the Format Painter, and then we're going to drag that over A11 to F17, and now they're formatted the same as the data up above. And then go to cell A18 to get ready for importing some more data. Okay, we're going to go back to the Data tab, and this time we're going to bring in some data from a web page. We're not actually going to go out to the web. We're going to get it from an HTML page. And what we have to do is we have to go find, and this is going to be kind of tricky here because it wants to go to a web address up here, and we don't want it to go to a web address. Now, my file happens to be buried pretty deeply in a number of folders, and so what I did for this one was I made a copy of the file and I put it at the root level of my C drive just so I wouldn't have to type in so much stuff here. So if I type C:\/ and click on go, I don't know if I need the word file in front of that or not. Let's try that and see if it works. And no, it put the word file in front of it for me. And now I want to click on import. Whoops, first I want to select the table, and then I'm at the top of page 448 now. Then I want to click the import button, and I want to put it in the existing worksheet. Click properties here again, and I want to turn off adjust column width, and he doesn't say anything about clicking overwrite this time, so we'll just click on OK. And then we will click on OK again. And it brings the data in with some labels here, and it brought the headings in as 2 rows this time. So let's go here and select both of those rows, right click and choose delete, and it moves the data up for me. And let's go back to the Home tab, and it says select the range A17 to F17, so that'd be the last row of the previous stuff here. And you notice these seem to be in a little bit from the right edge of the cell. And so if we go to our format painter here and then drag it over these, they all get pushed over a little bit from the right edge of the cell as well. Okay, the next option is to import data from a Word document. If the data in a Word document is in a table, we can go out there and get it. So this time we want to go to cell A34 before we start. And we want to start up Word and open the document. So let's go here and start up Word and go out and open up that document they tell us to open. Open. And we're going to SkyDrive, and we're going to Excel data files and Chapter 7, and we want the U-Build Computers East Sales 2013. Click on open, and there's our data table, and drag through all the cells in the second through the last columns of the table. So skip the first column of the table, and we're going to copy those to the clipboard. You need to click on copy or type Control-C. And it says we can quit Word, so I'm going to do a Control-W here just to close that file and then close out of Word. And now we're back in here, and I want to do a paste. Okay, and I've got the data that I need, but it needs to be transposed. Okay, and we got the data here, but it's in the wrong format, and we're now on page 452, number 5. Click the copy button, so I want to copy the data that I've got, and then I want to go to A25 here. And what I need to do is basically rotate the rows and the columns in this data. And we want to do a paste, but we're not going to do an ordinary paste. We need to click on the down arrow. And there's an option here labeled Transpose. Okay. And that's what we want to select. Okay. And now we're almost there. But if you look, you see everything's off by a column, and that's because this stuff in column A is combined and actually needs to be split up into two columns. Okay, we're going to select the old data we had down here and delete it because we don't need it anymore. And then we're going to go to B25 to E31, which is all of this data. And what we're going to do is we're just going to drag it over one. Now you can cut and paste, or you can just get the four-headed arrow and drag like I'm doing here. And then select C25, which is right here, and paste it. Okay, we did that. Now I'm at the top of page 454. Select A23 to F23. A23 to F23. Whoops, A23 to F23. And we're going to clean it up again here, do our format painter, and then go click and drag over this stuff. And actually, let's go down here. I don't know if he tells you to do this or not, but let's go down here and let's just remove all of the borders from this stuff down here. Choose no border, and that looks a little bit better. Okay. And now what we want to do is we want to select this data here that has two things in one column. And then we're going to tell it to take this and split it up where the comma is. And the feature of Excel for doing that is called text to columns. And we have to tell it how to decide how to split this into multiple columns. And it's got a comma in there delimiting the first column from the next column. And we got to tell it that it's a comma that's the delimiter. And it'll show us how it's going to split it up. And let's click on Next. And click on Finish. And what it'll do is it'll slide the stuff over into the next column. So it'll split it up. What was before the comma stays here. What was after the comma goes over here. And the last thing we do in this section is at the top of page 456. It says select the range G4 to H4, which would be these two up here. And drag the fill handle down through row 31 to copy those formulas all the way down to row 31. And select H32 to deselect the data that's there. And let's go ahead and save it, and we'll put our name on the end of it. File, save as. And that's the end of that section.